Welcome. You have arrived at STEM City, USA, a safe and trusted community where you can find people and resources to help you become everything you are and beyond, accessible to all who reach for the stars.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, ambassadors. Thank you for letting me start this out this morning, because today, ambassadors, I want to introduce you to the person I consider the lead ambassador. Mr. Goldfield, Burton Goldfield, started out as an engineer, still an engineer, but he not only used his engineering training and his experience in engineering to, he has been the CEO for 13 years of a big company. It's all about leadership, engineering, getting everything right. So this morning, you're going to get not only why you should be in STEM, but you're going to see what a real ambassador can do. So ambassadors, take it over.
Welcome to the BEYA Stars and Stripes Career Day. My name is Moria, and I am a BEYA Stars and Stripes Student STEM Ambassador. I'm an 11th grade honors student and active in my community in Gainesville, Florida. What is BEYA Stars and Stripes? BEYA Stars and Stripes Career Day was started by a group of retired admirals, generals, and members of the Senior Executive Service to help teens like you and me. This gives kids like us an opportunity to see and be inspired by careers and just understand what is possible for us to do in life. The national chairman is Vice Admiral Walt Davis, U.S. Navy retired. On the second Saturday of each month, we bring you a world-class mentor who will take you into their world and show you what a typical day looks like for them. We have had astronauts, tech titans, and the top woman in cybersecurity in the country. This is your chance to get to know them and see how and why they got to where they are. I also invite you to Washington, D.C. on February 19, 2022 for BEYA to meet these mentors. Now on to Matthew.
Thanks, Moria. Good morning. My name is Matthew. I'm an 11th grade honors student in the Washington, D.C. area. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce our personal mentor, Lieutenant General Bruce Crawford, USA retired. In the Army, Lieutenant General Crawford was responsible for the largest IT organization in the world, bigger than Microsoft and bigger than Amazon IT. He is a native of South Carolina and graduated from South Carolina State University. He is a husband and father. Currently, he is a senior vice president at Jacobs Corporation, where he is responsible for over $5.5 billion worth of business assets.
Well, Matthew, thank you very much, and welcome to everyone. And just as Admiral Davis said, this is just kind of a one-of-a-kind opportunity to have access for those who are plugged in to really ordinary people, but that are doing people who are doing extraordinary things to literally change the world. And so, in terms of the purpose, this event. And I mean the broader purpose and what we're really trying to accomplish. It's about exposing you to information that really prepares you for STEM careers in the future. And so a couple of other thoughts. The art of the possible. When you think about the overall purpose of this event and forums like this in BEYA, it's really about illuminating the art of the possible. For the next greatest generation of leaders. And so absolutely technology not only touches, but also enables virtually every aspect of our lives. And in leveraging technology, it's not just about new ways to solve old problems, but it's also about how we're going to leverage technology to really think about how to solve new problems. And so the last thing I'd like to tell everyone, and that's parents, that's students, that's counselors, the question for you and what you ought to be asking our guest speaker is, listen, why not me? All right. Having listened to their story, you should be inspired, but you really should be inspired to be thinking about if it has been done in the past, then why not me? And so again, thanks to everyone for being here today, and looking forward to a great discussion.
Thanks, General Crawford. My name is Celia. I am a 12th grade honors student in Sarasota, Florida. Today, it is my honor to introduce CEO Trinet, Mr. Burton Goldfield. He is an amazing leader and has led Trinet since 2008. Mr. Burton has transformed the company into a leading cloud-based HR provider and professional employer organization. Trinet's net revenue has more than quadrupled during his tenure. Prior to Trinet, Mr. Burton was CEO at Katera Technologies, a Santa Clara-based SaaS provider to Fortune 2000 companies. Before that, Burton served as a Senior Vice President, Worldwide Field Operations at Hyperion Solutions Corporation and Vice President of Worldwide Sales for IBM Corporation's Rational Software Division. Burton is the chairman of the board at Financial Force. Burton earned a bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering from Syracuse University and an MBA from Villanova University. The San Francisco Business Times has named him a most admired CEO in 2010. BEYA family, Mr. Burton Goldfield.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And I want to start by echoing what General Crawford was talking about. I have been blessed in my life and feel so lucky to be here today to talk to you. And if giving you any insight that will help you would be an honor for me. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and the most important thing to me growing up was my friends and sports. I also had a curiosity around technology, which in the end led to my career today and the ability to work with amazing people like Admiral Davis and others. The picture you see on the screen is a computer I built in 1968 for a local science fair in my town. Yes, that is me. That's what 60 years does to you. But I was fortunate in that I had a curiosity around science and engineering without any vision for where the world was going. But those tools that I learned at an early age ended up being the foundation for everything I would do in the future. I really believe that you need to have a passion around something. And fortunately, I was able to keep my passion around my friends and yes, sports, but also learn about other things and get deep into the world of technology very early on. I know it makes me sound old, but computers did not exist when I was born. I learned to program computers on punch cards. And what is included in an iPhone today did not exist for over 50 years after I was born. I believe that every one of you needs to find your own passion. And you have no idea where that passion will lead, but the act of learning, the act of growing, and the act of interacting with other people forms you to do what you're going to do. Today, I run a $5 billion company, which I could never have dreamed of back in Philadelphia. The path to that was about the people that I met along my journey, including my wife of 40 years, who was willing to pick up and move from Philadelphia to California, where at the time, most of the work was being done in computers. Mentors are very, very important. My mentor was a Major Glenn Hughes, who I met early in my career, and he taught me so much about the world around me. I had not traveled much. I did not have a really global perspective on what was going on around me. It was about my friends, my family in Philadelphia, in a close-knit community in West Oak Lane. And I met someone who had traveled the world and would help me to understand that there was ways to have much bigger impact than just doing a specific task. Glenn was an incredible individual who passed away a few years ago, but I am not embarrassed to admit that even today, I talk to him on a regular basis in my dreams. He helped me to embrace technology, to use it for good, and to help businesses and people. Today, as I said, I run a company called Trinet. It is a public company, which I didn't even know what a public company was at the time. And we are helping 17,000 small businesses in America. We are helping them with human resources to hire people and give them great work environments. We are helping to pay their people. We are helping to provide the best medical benefits that are available in the country today. And we are helping those companies grow. The impact of what Trinet does has never been felt more than in the last 2 years during the pandemic. We connected our small business with government loans, with advice on how to help people even in these difficult times, and how they could prosper even in this difficult environment. I am proud to say that the companies that Trinet supported, which are the small and medium-sized businesses in America, grew even during this pandemic. I am proud to say that they hired at a very high rate new employees, giving the new employees and their families an opportunity to grow and succeed even during the pandemic. I could have never dreamed of the life I have today. I could never have dreamed of the people I get to meet and interact with, including all of you who are on this call today. For the Californians and the basketball fans, yes, I got to hang out with Andre Iguodala. I get to hang out with people like Michelle Obama and Stacey Abrams and Admiral McRaven and all types of great people, because by me interacting with these incredible people, it makes me better, and then I can help others. Yes, that's my office in the background. I love going to the office every day, even in the middle of the pandemic, and I get to help 3,000 people, which is the number of employees in my company, help the 351,000 employees of the companies that we serve. I learn so much every day, and I never believed by being an engineer, I would be in human resources. But the fact is that the backbone of our human resources company is technology. We are doing over 2 million transactions every single month. They are helping people with benefits, changing and working on their payroll, giving bonuses, changing addresses. The technology backbone that we have built has cost over $1 billion, and in technology, to advance the technology, add security, and build new capabilities, we spend about $100 million a year. We also have groups that work on medical benefits and workers' compensation. I have learned as an engineer to understand actuaries and medical plans and premiums and all of the issues that face all humans on the planet, but particularly the people who are working in small and medium businesses in the United States. I am proud to provide the best benefits that can be offered in our country. Whether it has to do with fertility benefits, whether it has to do with access to experimental drugs. As an engineer, I am now getting involved in real world problems that affect families and businesses and the children of the people who run these businesses. Every day is an adventure for me. I never feel like I know enough. And the important lesson for me is that you have to keep on learning. You have to keep on growing. I am often asked, when did I know that I wanted to be a CEO of a company? And people are constantly disappointed because I'm very honest with them. Because my answer is, I never planned on being a CEO. And if that wasn't my title, I'd still work just as hard, have just as much fun, and try to have just as much impact every single day. It is impossible to predict your journey as it was impossible to predict mine. I get the perspective that I want because I still have my friends from kindergarten. That's 60 years ago when Mrs. Tetlow, the teacher, opened up our first class and myself and two friends met each other. Today, 60 years later, we are still friends. I can say I had dinner with them last week when I was on business in Philadelphia. It is amazing to see people that you knew 60 years ago and talk about the journey that is absolutely impossible to conceive at that time, and even some mornings when I wake up today. I feel so blessed to have taken the journey that I've taken. I've made an amazing amount of mistakes, but one of them was not marrying the right person and building on a foundation of interest and desire to learn different and new things. Again, there was no way that I believed my interest in science and math would lead to running an HR company. The probability of where I came from in Philadelphia to do what I'm doing was very, very small and never part of my vision. It was more to surround myself with more good people, like the friends I grew up with, to learn, to grow, to listen, and to give back when the opportunity arose. I am so pleased to be here today. I am so pleased to try to give some of the knowledge of what I've learned over the years. One of the most interesting things I've done is take Trinet public on the New York Stock Exchange. The New York Stock Exchange is a 110-year-old building in New York City, and to me is the center of capitalism for the world. It was a surreal experience when we took Trinet public in 2014. It had been an 8-year journey to take Trinet public, and the company has grown from about $100 million to now $5.5 billion. I plan on keep going to $10 billion. Why? because it gives more people opportunities. It lets me interact with more amazing people. Yes, that's my team in both pictures, then and now. The picture on the right was we went back to celebrate the anniversary of the bell ringing. I have been able to hire amazing people and feel part of a team. I wake up every morning fearful that I can't keep up with my team. I don't want to let them down. I feel like there's 3,000 people in the company and their families who have put their trust in me to build a company where they can grow and learn, support their families, and then in turn have their families succeed. Building skills all the way through your career is a very important part of learning. Some of those skills come easy, some come hard. I have a problem with languages. I've gotten a chance to travel everywhere in the world now as a CEO. Unfortunately, my language skills are very bad. I would love to be able to communicate in the native language of the people I do business in. I try. I'm not great at it, but I never give up. Building skills over time is critical to growing. And if you're not growing, or at least for me, when I'm not growing, I get bored. What I can tell you is I am never bored. I am always fearful because I don't want to let the people around me down. The people that I care most about is my family. The hard part, and the family on both sides. So on the right is, believe it or not, a business meeting in Disneyland. Yes, we have fun on business. On the left is my son and my wife of 40 years. Finding that balance, having friends and family and support systems around you is very, very challenging because work is challenging. It doesn't stop at night. It goes 24 hours a day. One of the things that my wife tells me all the time is, I'd rather have you a very small portion of the time being very happy as opposed to having you a larger portion of the time being unhappy. I am very happy with the choices I've made. I am very happy and blessed with the opportunities I've been given. I ask you all to consider the choices that you make. I believe that the foundation that I have in science and math has been the bedrock that has allowed me to leverage technology into an industry which you would not normally associate with technology. My background in computers has opened the doors to numerous possibilities for me. I have now found my passion helping small businesses grow, watching owners of businesses succeed and take care of their families, and deal with some of the most difficult issues around medical care and helping families get the care that they need for their employees and their children. I believe over time, the evolution of computers will do great for the world around us. I believe that the ability to solve the most complex problems will be based in technology. For me, an area that I'm focused on outside of work is the generation of clean energy. The ability to generate clean energy all over the world solves a host of problems around droughts, around storms, around growing agriculture. And the fossil fuel that we're using today has challenges that need to be addressed. I have no doubt that we will solve all of the challenges that exist in the world. I also have no doubt that it will be rooted in science and brilliance and passion from people like you as you address these problems with a level of focus that has never been seen before. I applaud you being here today. I appreciate the fact that you're listening to me because I am a very unlikely CEO. With that, I'd like to turn it back to the team for questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have moving forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Savannah, an 11th grade student from Sacramento, California. And after hearing Mr. Burton's passionate and absorbing story, we will be diving into a Q&A to hear more about his life and to hear why he made the decisions he made. So the first question we have is, we hear a lot about the cloud. What is it and what impact will it have on our lives as Generation Z?
That's a wonderful question. Thank you. So to tell you about the cloud, I need to give you a perspective that when I was deep into the engineering technology of computers, this is after computers existed, it was all centered around a physical box and a physical piece of hardware that we programmed. To get that piece of machinery to be a computer, it took a tremendous amount of software and a tremendous amount of tools to build before you actually built the application that you are seeing on your phones today. Generally, we would spend between 6 months and 1 year just to get the machine, the computer, ready to program a particular operation, whether it was payroll or Facebook. Today, the idea of the cloud is that just like a light switch, when you flip on the light in your room, you don't think about how the electricity got to the light bulb. You don't think about how that power was generated or the machinery behind how that electricity was generated. The cloud offers the computer analog to that, which is by flipping a switch, you can immediately begin programming your application or solving your problem. This takes years and potentially decades off the solutions that need to be given. There are teams of people who work on provisioning the cloud so that you have the compute power, you have the tools to build the software you need by just flipping a switch. It is the biggest single change I can tell you over the 50 years that I have been involved in the so-called computer industry. The cloud will continue to evolve with more power. The cloud will continue to provide easier access to providing and building the solutions that you dream of. I would say, and I'm going to go one step further on that, because there's the concept of open source, which is where people build software and put it in the cloud and say, Savannah, use it. It's free. It's yours. When I was growing up, if I built an application, I didn't share it. I didn't have the capability to share it, and that was not the way it was done. By using the cloud and open source, you can stand on the shoulder of giants to build new software quickly, easily, and accurately.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And now the second question is, what has your career path been?
That is a great question. My career path has been saying yes to good opportunities with good people. If I have done one thing right, it has been to get involved with people who cared about me and wanted to see me succeed. And by getting involved with people who cared about me, I built the trust in them and I gave my best efforts. The career path for me is having a family that was willing to support me as we took the scary move from a town, Philadelphia, where I knew everybody, to move to California, where I knew nobody. The career path to me was trying hard every day and understanding how I could help the team around me. My belief is if I could help other people be successful, I would be tremendously successful. Counter to many people today, title never mattered to me. I took opportunities at lower titles in different opportunities because I believed I was with the right people and I trusted that they would take care of me. I have, deep respect for people who have to extract themselves from situations where they're not in good business situations. I have been very lucky, and my career path has been meeting great people like Admiral Davis, who cares about me, who has helped me be successful, and I try to return the favor for others. That's been my career path.
I love
Hi.
to hear philosophy.
Thank
Moria,
you.
would you like to answer to ask the next question?
Hi, this is Moria again. What or who is your why for your career path?
So the who is my family and honestly the human condition. It is first and foremost, I want to take care of my family. I want to make sure they are happy, they are healthy, and that I am there for them. I have a dad who is 94 years old, and he is still happy and healthy and quite a handful. I talked to him last night, and I have a close circuit of friends, as I talked about earlier. I try to connect with my friends on a regular basis. At a higher level, and being totally honest with the folks on this phone, I am concerned about the world around us. I believed that as I grew up, we were solving a lot of the cultural problems, that we were making the world better, and then I don't see the progress that I had seen earlier in my life. So the what for me is to try to do things at a very specific level, a local level, to help people, to help the environment, so I can feel good about the blessings that I've had in my life. And I am very happy if I can satisfy those two issues. And I wake up every morning excited to take on the next day.
That's so amazing to hear. Now, the next question we have for you is, how did you go from engineering to HR, and why that specific industry?
That's a great question. It goes back to saying yes to new opportunities. And you're asking a wonderful question, because we're with a group of people here who are interested in engineering and computers. I have to tell you a story. Many of the people that I respected advised me not to go into human resources, begged me not to, quote, leave the computer industry, because I was at IBM and I was at another software company called Rational and Hyperion. And they said, you are a computer guy, you're not an HR guy. And it was a tough decision that I made, my wife and I, to go into the HR space. It was a very small company, but I liked the people and I liked the idea of helping small businesses. Prior to that, we were building software for companies like American Express and JP Morgan and United Airlines, and there is nothing wrong with large companies. But when I got to spend time with small companies that were in the nonprofit space, that were curing cancer, that were building great software, and I got to meet the CEOs and founders of these companies, I went against the popular opinion of the people that I respected. They said I would get bored and I would be back in computer software within 2 years. 14 years later, we have created a company worth $7 billion. All they can say now is, you were right, Burton. It was an instinct. It was a feeling that I could get excited about this. I don't know whether I would have continued to be getting excited about building software for large companies. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but this allowed me to find a new passion in my career to go from engineering to HR. I was offered this job by somebody I had known for many years. They asked me, or I asked them, why would you want me in HR? I know nothing about HR. And they said, you know computer software, and to build a great HR company, you need to be able to handle all of the tasks that are associated with HR. 2 million transactions every month. That cannot be in the forefront. What needs to be in the forefront is the human contact, the advice, not the transactions. And what I've been able to build is taking my engineering background and software background, I've been able to use that to make the transaction seamless and bring the passion of HR to the forefront of our company. Thank you for that question, because it isn't a logical transition, but in my mind, it was perfection.
That's incredible.
What were your career aspirations at 17?
I'm going to be honest with you. My career aspirations were to be in sports. To be with my friends. My career aspirations were, I wanted to make enough money to have my own apartment. They were not, I didn't have a big vision of what I could do. I had a passion around, as you could see from that original picture, of building things. It used to drive my dad crazy, because I remember once taking apart the toaster and I couldn't put it back together. That was the end of that toaster. I like to tinker with things. I would, if I'd find something in the trash, a broken TV, and in those days it was a tube TV, I'd drag it into my garage and I'd take it apart. But I don't remember having big aspirations. I do remember having passion. I do remember having passion, again, around friends and sports and technology. But I don't remember, it wasn't like I want to be a CEO or I want to do something particular. I just wanted to be a normal kid, and I wanted to be able to support myself. I have 2 brothers. I'm the middle child. Some people say the forgotten one. I just wanted to be happy and healthy. And honestly, my friends and sports were the things that I was passionate about at 17.
Honestly, I still
Thank you.
feel like that's so incredible because you're able to translate your passion into the thing that you're most passionate about later on when you're able to find what career you wanted to do. You're still able to translate that passion into your career. So that's incredible.
Thank you.
The fifth question we have is, when did you first begin to feel like you were actually making a difference with your job?
Wow. Again, this is a really great question and good advice as you seek your career. Early on, I was with this company, a software company called Rational Software, and the two founders, a gentleman named Mike Devlin, who was out of the Air Force Academy, and Paul Levy, who was also out of the Air Force Academy. They picked me to be part of this small team building some very special software for the military. And they made me feel important. And by making me feel important, I worked even harder. Again, I have friends for life. I still talk to Paul and Mike even 22 years after I left their company. So I began feeling a difference in my job when I met Paul and Mike, the founders of Rational Software, and they took me under their wing and gave me the accolades and the encouragement even when things did not go right. The company almost went out of business in 1989. I'll never forget. It was Christmas Eve, and we had not sold a single product all year. And we looked at each other and said, so we are going to go a year without having a single sale, and we are almost out of money. And I went to IBM, and it had to do with the air traffic control systems that were being built at the time with government support. It was the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, AAS. It was air traffic control systems. And I flew to Washington, and I sat down with IBM, and I explained the problem. And the day before Christmas, on Christmas Eve, they gave me an order which kept Rational Software going. And it was not me, it was the support of the people at Rational, Mike and Paul and others, and the belief by IBM that I would make good on the promise that got us the order in 1989, the day before Christmas, to keep Rational Software going. We sold it to IBM, ironically, that's 12 years later, for $2.2 billion.
Thank you. What big problem are you trying to solve next?
I am trying to solve the problem of making it easier for small businesses to be successful in America. I am trying to solve the problem of making sure that they continue to hire and pay properly 50% of the American workers. I am trying to help these companies grow and stay compliant with the complexities around the small and medium businesses that they face with the federal laws, the state laws, the local laws. The laws in California are completely different than the laws in Florida. We have to navigate the difference in those laws.
The next question is, how do you identify those big problems to solve? How are you supposed to identify these problems?
You guys are asking really great questions, by the way. Thank you. I am interviewed all the time, and I don't get questions as good as the ones you're asking me. I find the big problems by spending time with the people we're serving. Every single week, I spend time with the small and medium businesses that we're serving. I don't let a week go by. Every week I spend time with people that we want to have as customers. I listen to them, I ask questions. One of the challenges, and this is another story for you at IBM, and one of the reasons that I'm no longer at IBM, when you get into a larger corporation with the levels of management, it is hard to get the real data from the customers. When I came to Trinet, it was important to me to make sure that everybody in the company had access to the people who are actually using our products and services. I identify big problems by talking to my customers.
Thank you. How do you find new talent? Do you have an intern program?
We have an intern program. I welcome you to the intern program. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I think about talent. I have a model that has worked for me for many years. So when I hire people for core values and motivation. Most people hire other people for knowledge, for skills, and for experience. So if you take those 5 attributes, core values and motivation, knowledge, skills, and experience, I generally hire differently than most people hire. Why? Because at work, I can give you knowledge, I can help you to obtain skills, and by working with me, you'll get the experience. I cannot change a person's core values or their motivation. You both had brought out earlier that I am obviously very passionate. I wake up motivated every morning. I can't make you be motivated. I cannot change your core values. And it's not a right or wrong issue around core values. It's whether they fit into the culture of the company I'm building. So I do hire differently. I hire for core values and motivation, not knowledge, skills, and experience. And there's many interviews out on the web that I've done, and I've gone into more detail about that. But I do have an intern program. I encourage you all. We hire about 50 to 60 interns a year, and I believe we're building a great company with a great culture.
And what is your intern program's name?
I don't know my intern program's name, but if you send me an email, I will find out what that name is and connect you with the right people.
It's amazing. Trey, would you like to take question number 9?
Who is your biggest advocate? Who is your biggest advocate?
Thank you, Trey. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Unqualified, it's my wife. Unqualified. I'll be married 40 years this year. We've been together about 45 years. My wife is my biggest advocate. I come home from a difficult day, and she is always there to listen. She's really, really smart, and she helps me solve difficult problems. So again, I've been very lucky. I got married young. My son is 34 years old, and I found somebody who helped me, and we've been a team for 40 years in June.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's all her.
The next question is, what do you wish you would have known at my age, at the youth age?
What I wished I would have known is that it's all going to be okay. I had a lot of sleepless nights. One of the problems with passion and energy is that I worry a lot. I worried even at 17. When my friends weren't worried, I was worried. And there's always an opposite side to different attributes and personalities. I always worried. And what I would tell my 17-year-old self was, it's going to be okay. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be completely different than you imagine. There's going to be good days and bad days, but you've got this. You will be successful. And I don't mean successful what other people think. That doesn't really bother me. I am my harshest critic, and you should be, and that's advice I'd give you. There's times when things have gone wrong, particularly in business, that I know I've done a great job, but I get a lot of criticism. And honestly, I'll tell you, even weirder is when I know I didn't do so well, but I was lucky and people are praising me. And it feels really weird because I know I didn't do a good job. At the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with yourself and believe in yourself. There's no reason not to take input from everyone. The input is really important, but you are a unique and wonderful person, and you have to figure out the path for you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trey.
You're welcome.
And we have a couple of questions from the audiences. One of them said, how do you organize your day?
Another great question. I have a lot of help with that. I have an amazing assistant, Maureen Clevin, who's on the call today. We have been together for 14 years, and she helps me organize my day. We try to take notes on what happens, and we follow up on everything. I am honestly a morning person. I wake up very early. I go to the gym 3 days a week because I need to stay physically healthy. And I'm generally up by about 4:30 in the morning. But I get increasingly less productive as the day goes on. Now, there's a lot of people I work with who are much more productive at midnight. So you need the team to balance each other out. I try to work on the hard problems early in the morning because that's when my brain is best. And then at the end of the day, there's a lot of paperwork and responding to emails and things that we do that don't take the same amount of contemplation, let's just say. On weekends, I try to do things that help me re-energize. I love music, particularly jazz. Last night, I came home and read and sat on the couch and looked at the Christmas tree and played some Ben Webster and Coleman Hawkins and just relaxed for about an hour. And then I spent time with my wife.
That sounds nice.
It does.
Another question says, how do you keep developing yourself? Do you have a plan?
I don't have a plan, honestly. I keep developing myself by keeping up with the great people I work with. To grow a company, particularly in today's environment, you need to keep reinventing the company. The company did not grow from doing the same things over and over again. So the way I develop myself is by solving hard problems and working with my team on complex issues. I would like to say that I have to invent those complex issues, but they hit me in the face every single day. So I find that by staying engaged, by taking on different opportunities, as was mentioned up front, I am now the chairman of the board of a software company called Financial Force, and I am helping them to grow and become a public company. There may be another picture of me on the podium of the New York Stock Exchange over the next 3 or 4 years, not as the CEO, but as the chairman of the board. And I am mentoring a young CEO who is running that company. I develop myself by helping him because I learn more about my own journey, and I learn how to take what I know and apply it to another company by helping him grow Financial Force.
I love that you just continue to just impact the youth by continuing. You just decide that you just don't stop, and you're like, I have to continue doing this and this, and you do that by connecting to the youth, and that's amazing. And the last question we have for today is, what is the secret to remote work?
So you've left the hardest question to last. I am a people person. I like seeing people in person. You are much more adept at what we're doing right now. I am so uncomfortable on Zoom. I would rather be in the room with you. And I know remote work is the future, and that's one of the things I'm growing to learn about. I drive my team crazy, Savannah, because I go in every day and they just can't figure out why, because they'd much rather work from home. I am learning. I will grow. I will get better at it. But I think the secret is to know the people you work with. You have to care about them. I mean, I have a whole theory on trust, and trust is built over time. And trust has 2 aspects to it. I won't do it justice in the next minute, but there's 2 aspects to trust. One is, which has been so important in my career, that I trust the people I work with care about me as a person, know me well enough to know what I care about, and can help me be successful. The other side of trust is that if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And building, meaning if I say something will be done Friday, it's done Friday. The problem with remote work, and what I am struggling with, I don't have the answer, is how do you build deep trust when I can't see you in person? I think it can be done. I just don't know the answer to that. So I don't have the answer to all your questions. I think they're great questions. I appreciate all of you. I know that you will do great things in your life, and I know that the basis of technology will solve many of these issues. And I wish you all just tremendous success. And if I can ever be of help, you can find me. I'm out there. You can LinkedIn with me. This is something I am passionate about, to help people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Burton, and thank you so much for this enriching Q&A.
Hello. On behalf of the BEYA Student Ambassadors, thank you so much, Mr. Goldfield, for sharing your career with us today. Our next Career Day event is Saturday, January 8th. Save the date, everyone, and we will see you there.